Welcome back for another deep dive. You guys sent in some really cool research this time, all about workplace stress and these wellness programs that companies do.
Oh, okay.
We are going to dig in
Yeah.
and see if we can pull out some good stuff
Okay.
about how you can manage your stress better at work
Sure.
and boost your well-being, even if your company doesn't have like a super formal program.
I like it.
So to guide us on this deep dive, we have a 2015 article
Okay.
from the Annual Review of Psychology.
Nice.
It's kind of like the cheat sheet for all the top research in this area.
It's a really good one. It really is. It kind of summarizes everything we know so far about what works when it comes to
Workplace wellness.
workplace wellness. Exactly.
Perfect.
Uh,
So
yeah.
to set the stage a little bit, researchers often use this model to think about workplace stress and well-being,
Okay.
called the Job Demands Resources Model.
Uh-huh.
Can you give us a quick overview of what that is?
Absolutely. So imagine a seesaw.
Okay.
On one side, you've got job demands, right?
Yeah.
Things like crazy workload. Yeah.
Tight deadlines,
Uh-huh.
unclear expectations from your boss,
Yeah.
and if there's too much weight on that side of the seesaw,
Going down.
you're going to start feeling stressed out,
Yeah.
burned out,
Uh-huh.
maybe even like you don't want to go to work anymore.
Yeah, that seesaw is definitely tipping in the wrong direction.
Exactly. Now, on the other side,
Okay.
picture all the job resources,
Okay.
the good stuff.
Uh-huh.
So that's like having supportive coworkers,
Yes.
opportunities to learn new things at work,
To grow.
and just feeling like you have some control over your work.
Yeah.
When you've got plenty of those resources,
Yeah.
they can balance out the demands
Okay.
or even tip the scale towards like well-being and you're excited about work.
I love that.
Yeah.
The seesaw analogy.
It's a good one.
It's so visual.
Yeah.
So it's like we need to keep adding resources to our side to
Yeah.
keep things balanced.
Exactly.
Okay, so where do stress management interventions come in? Yeah, so these interventions are all about like adjusting that seesaw
Okay.
to try to get a better balance.
Okay.
So it used to be that we just focused on taking away demands,
Okay.
like teaching people how to relax to deal with stress.
Okay.
It's like putting out fires as they pop up.
Okay.
But now we're starting to see this shift towards
so.
building up the resources side,
Okay.
too. And
Yeah.
that seems to be making a really big difference.
So instead of just reacting to stress,
Right.
we're trying to be proactive
Yeah.
and build up our capacity to thrive.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, and it leads to some really cool interventions like
Yeah.
mindfulness.
Okay.
You know, studies show that practicing mindfulness,
Uh-huh.
like meditation or even just focusing on your breath,
Okay.
can help you feel less stressed,
Okay.
sleep better,
Wow.
and even like juggle work and life a little bit easier.
I've dabbled in mindfulness.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I used to think it was kind of woo-woo. But I'm starting to see that it's not just about,
Yeah.
sitting on a meditation cushion.
Right.
It's more about learning to just pay attention
Yeah.
to what's happening right now.
In the moment.
Yeah. And to notice your thoughts and feelings without judging them.
Without judgment. Yeah.
And then choosing how to respond to those difficult things.
Exactly. And the really cool thing is that research has shown that mindfulness seems to work because it helps us become more aware of how we react to stress.
Interesting.
And that awareness gives us a little bit more space
Okay.
to choose a better response
Okay.
instead of just reacting automatically.
So when I get that email
Yep.
from that difficult client,
Right.
instead of immediately getting stressed out,
Yeah.
I can maybe pause, take a breath,
Take a breath.
and then choose how I want to respond to that.
Exactly. It's about building that inner strength to deal with those challenges without getting totally swept away by stress.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so mindfulness is one way to boost our resources for
Sure.
managing stress.
Yeah.
What are some other, what did we call it? Green Cape strategies.
Green Cape strategies. Yeah. Think about how you recharge
Right.
after a long day or a tough week.
Yeah.
That recovery time is so important.
Big.
Research shows that there are 4 key elements to really good recovery.
Okay, I'm listening.
So it's psychological detachment from work,
Okay.
mastery experiences, relaxation, and control over your free time.
So it's not just about physically leaving work.
Right.
It's about mentally disconnecting too.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. And those mastery experiences,
Huh.
that's about doing things that give you a sense of accomplishment.
Okay.
Like maybe you learn a new skill or you tackle a creative project
Yeah.
or even just finish a hard workout.
I like that.
Yeah,
Reminding yourself that you're capable
exactly.
and competent
Yeah.
outside of work,
Yes.
which can then help you feel better
Yeah.
at work.
More resilient, more confident.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good way to put it.
And then, of course, Relaxation and control are about finding ways to de-stress
Yeah.
and do things that you enjoy
On your own terms.
on your own terms. Exactly.
So it sounds like it's all about being intentional with your downtime
Yes.
and actually using that time to
To
recharge
recharge those
so
batteries.
you can come back to work
Yes.
feeling refreshed.
Exactly.
Okay, so mindfulness and recovery.
Uh-huh.
Those are both about strengthening our own personal resources.
Yes.
Are there any interventions that take like a more big picture approach?
There are. Sometimes the best way to go is to try to tackle multiple job demands at once
Okay,
and boost resources at the same time. It's like a double dose of support.
gotcha. Can you give me an example?
Yeah, so researchers did this long-term study where they looked at a program that addressed a bunch of workplace stressors
Okay.
while also giving people training and resources to help them feel more confident and in control.
Okay.
And the results were really amazing.
What did they find?
So even 3 years later,
Wow.
people who did that program had way lower stress and burnout
Compared
to people who didn't.
Wow.
It's like that intervention set them on a path toward feeling better at work.
That's encouraging. So it sounds like doing multiple things at once can be really effective,
It can.
but not all workplaces are the same.
Right.
So how do you know which interventions will work?
Yeah, you're right. There's no magic bullet.
Right.
But that's where that model we talked about, the job demands resources model, can be really helpful.
Okay.
There's actually research where scientists use that model
Okay.
to figure out the problems in a company and then design an intervention that would work just for them.
So they were like workplace wellness detectives.
Exactly.
Okay.
They figured out what demands were weighing people down,
Okay.
and then they focused on building up resources that would help them.
That's cool.
So in this one case, they found that the main issue was a lack of autonomy and not enough opportunities to grow.
Okay.
People felt stuck.
Yeah.
So they made an intervention that was all about giving people more control
Okay.
over their work
Yeah.
and helping them feel more competent.
Gotcha.
And it worked.
That's great.
Employees felt more empowered,
Yeah.
more engaged, and more optimistic about their work.
It's like they gave employees the tools to actually take back control
Yes.
of their work.
Thanks.
But work isn't the only thing that causes stress in our lives.
Right.
What about things outside of work?
Yeah.
Like being a working parent?
Yeah, you're hitting on something really important. It's all connected, right?
Yeah.
Our well-being at work is connected to everything else.
Makes sense.
And there's some really interesting research
Okay.
looking at how strengthening resources outside of work
Okay.
can actually make work stress go down.
Okay. I'm all ears. Tell me more.
So there's this program called Workplace Triple P, which focuses on teaching working parents good parenting skills.
Okay.
And research has shown that it can actually lower their work stress.
Wait, so by getting better at parenting, they felt less stressed at work.
That's what they found.
That's wild.
It seems like learning those skills and feeling more confident as parents
Yeah.
just helped them feel less stressed overall.
Okay.
And that helped at work too.
So it's like supporting people in all areas of their life
Yeah.
can then have these benefits
Uh-huh.
that show up at work,
Exactly.
which is really cool.
It is. And that brings us to a really exciting area of research
Okay.
that takes a super proactive approach
Yep.
to feeling good at work.
Okay.
It's about going beyond just getting rid of the bad stuff
Okay.
and actually building up the good stuff.
I like that.
We're talking about positive psychology in the workplace.
Okay, tell me more.
Positive psychology is all about changing your focus from what's wrong
Okay.
to what's right,
Okay.
from fixing problems
Mm.
to using your strengths.
Okay.
And there's more and more evidence
Okay.
that it can really make a difference at work.
So instead of just trying to get rid of stress,
Right.
we're talking about trying to feel more positive emotions,
Yeah.
being resilient,
Yes,
and like finding a purpose in your work.
exactly.
Okay, cool. So how do we do that?
There are some really simple but powerful interventions.
Okay.
For example, one study had people keep a gratitude journal
Okay.
where they wrote down things they were grateful for at work.
Okay.
Sounds too easy, right?
Yeah, I can't believe that would actually work.
Well, it did.
Really?
Researchers found that people who did that regularly
Yeah.
felt happier and more satisfied with their jobs,
Wow.
and they were even less likely to call in sick.
That's amazing. What else?
In another study, they had healthcare workers think about 3 good things
Okay.
that happened during their day.
Okay.
It's like training your brain to focus on the good stuff,
Yeah.
even when work is hard.
Okay. What happened?
People in the study said they felt less stressed, both at work and after work.
Wow.
They were also better at mentally switching off from work
Well,
when they went home,
okay.
which let them enjoy their time off more.
So it's like
Yeah.
you can choose to focus on the good parts of your day instead of
Exactly.
getting bogged down
Yep.
by all the bad stuff.
That's the idea.
That's a good skill
It is.
to learn.
Yeah.
But what about like
Yeah.
more long-term things?
Yeah.
Are there things we can do to build up those positive resources
And our
over time?
over time, yeah. And it leads to something called psychological capital,
Okay.
or PsyCap for short.
PsyCap, what is that?
Think of it like your mental toolkit for doing well at work.
Okay.
It's made up of 4 things:
Okay.
self-efficacy, optimism, hope, and resilience.
And those are all things that we can develop
Exactly.
over time.
Over time, yeah.
Okay. Break those down for me. How
Yeah.
do those actually play out at work?
So self-efficacy is all about believing in yourself,
Okay.
believing you can succeed.
Yeah.
It's that feeling of, I can do this.
Yeah.
Optimism is about having a positive outlook on the future,
Uh-huh.
expecting good things to happen.
Yeah.
Hope is about having a vision for your goals
Okay.
and knowing you can get there even when things get tough.
Okay.
And resilience is all about bouncing back from setbacks.
Gotcha.
And just keeping going.
So it's like a combination of confidence, positive thinking,
Yeah.
goal setting,
Yes.
and grit.
And grit, exactly. That sounds like a good recipe for anything in life.
Yeah, not just work.
Right.
So are there interventions
There are.
that can help us build up our PsyCap?
Yes. And the research is really cool.
Okay.
In one study,
Yeah.
they made a training program to boost all 4 parts of PsyCap.
Okay.
And they found that it made people feel better and do better at their jobs.
Wait, so just by boosting these positive
Yeah.
psychological resources,
Yeah.
you can actually make people better at their jobs?
That's what they found.
Sign me up.
Huh.
What do they do in this program?
They used a bunch of different things,
Okay.
like online modules,
Uh-huh.
group discussions,
Okay.
and even individual coaching sessions.
Wow.
They really tailored it to that specific company.
Yeah.
But the main focus was on helping people develop those 4 resources.
That's fascinating. So I'm wondering
Yeah.
if there's a connection between building those up
Yeah.
and then how well those workplace wellness programs work that we were talking about before.
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
And one that I think we'll be digging into
Okay.
as we explore the world of workplace wellness programs.
It's all coming together.
It is.
I'm ready to dive into the next part
Let's do it.
of this deep dive.
Yeah. You mentioned workplace wellness programs,
Yeah.
and I think that's a perfect transition from all those individual strategies.
It does feel like the natural next step.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about all these different things that we can do
Uh-huh.
to feel better at work.
Right?
But what about the company's role in all this?
Yeah.
What can companies do to make it a better place to work?
That's where workplace wellness programs come in.
Okay.
They're getting super popular.
It does seem like everyone's talking about them these days.
Yeah.
But what exactly do we mean by workplace wellness?
Right.
Is it just yoga classes
Yeah.
and free snacks in the break room?
It can definitely include those things,
Yeah.
but it's way bigger than that.
Okay.
Think of them as initiatives to try and promote the health and well-being of employees in a more holistic way.
So it's about creating a culture that supports well-being
Exactly.
from the top down.
From the top down, yeah. And research actually shows
Okay.
that these programs can have a real impact,
Okay.
not just on how employees feel,
Uh-huh.
but also on the company's success.
So it's a win-win.
It is.
Okay, tell me more about these positive outcomes.
So one big review of hundreds of studies
Wow.
found that the programs that worked best
Yeah.
combined education
Okay.
strategies to help people change their behavior.
Okay.
And they tried to create a really supportive workplace culture.
So it's not just about telling people what to do.
Right.
It's about giving them the tools and support
Exactly.
to actually do it.
Yeah, and when you create that kind of environment,
Yeah.
you see some really amazing things happen.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, there was a study that followed a workplace wellness program for 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
What kind of program was it?
So they had things like health risk assessments,
Okay.
educational videos,
Uh-huh.
and even a tool that helped employees set wellness goals and track their progress.
Okay.
It was pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, it sounds like it did it work.
It did. And here's the crazy part.
Okay.
A lot of the positive effects, like
Yeah.
people exercising more and eating healthier,
Uh-huh.
actually lasted the entire 7 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It shows that these programs can really create lasting change.
They can.
But I'm curious.
Yeah.
Are these programs only realistic for huge companies?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
With lots of resources. Not necessarily.
Okay.
There are some great examples of smaller companies
Okay.
doing amazing things with wellness.
Okay, can you give me an example?
Yeah, so there's this small manufacturing company called Lincoln Industries,
Okay.
and they've had a wellness program
Right.
for over 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
That's impressive. What's their secret?
They've really made well-being part of their culture.
Okay.
So they focus on being physically fit,
Yeah.
eating healthy,
Uh-huh.
and having a strong community.
So it's not just about each person's health.
Right.
It's about creating a sense of well-being together.
It is.
I like that. What do
Yeah.
they actually do?
They've gotten really creative with their program.
Okay.
They offer things like health screenings every quarter,
Okay.
different fitness activities, and they even give incentives.
Incentives, like what?
Yeah, to employees who participate
Okay.
and make progress on their health goals.
Like money.
Well, for employees who really go all out,
Yeah.
they offer an all-expenses-paid mountain climbing trip to Colorado.
Wow. Sign me up.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So it sounds like they're really committed
Yeah.
to creating a culture of wellness.
It really does.
Mm.
And I bet it's working.
Well, yeah, research has actually compared their employees
Oh.
to other adults
Uh-huh.
in the same city,
Okay.
and they found that the Lincoln Industries employees had much better physical and mental health.
That's awesome.
And they were more likely to do healthy things.
That's a really cool example.
It is.
It shows that even small companies can make a big difference.
They can.
But before we move on,
Yeah.
is there anything else we should highlight about what makes these programs successful?
One thing that's really important is leadership support.
Oh.
If the leaders aren't on board and participating themselves,
Yeah.
it's probably not going to work.
Yeah, it makes sense that employees are going to be more likely to do it
Yeah,
if they see their boss doing it too.
exactly.
It's all about walking the talk.
Walking the talk, yeah.
Huh.
Another important thing is getting employees involved.
Okay.
Involve them in planning the program.
Okay.
So you know it's actually going to meet their needs.
So don't just assume you know what they want.
Right.
Ask them.
Ask them.
Yeah.
And finally, it's about creating a culture of health
Okay.
that goes beyond the program itself.
Okay.
Make healthy choices easy, encourage people to talk about well-being,
Okay.
and build a sense of community.
So it's not just about checking boxes.
Right.
It's about really valuing well-being
Exactly.
and making it part of how you do business.
Yes. And this brings us back to positive psychology
Oh, yeah.
that we talked about earlier.
Uh-huh.
There's this growing idea
Okay.
that adding positive psychology to wellness programs
Okay.
could be really powerful.
Okay. Tell me more about this connection.
Okay, so traditional programs
Yeah.
often focus on reducing risks
Okay.
and preventing illness,
Uh-huh.
which is good,
Yeah.
but it can feel a little negative.
Yeah. It's like, don't smoke, eat your veggies, get some exercise.
Exactly.
It's important, but not that exciting.
Right. But positive psychology brings something new.
Okay.
It's about shifting the focus
Okay.
to feeling good,
Okay.
building on your strengths, and finding meaning in your work.
So it's about going beyond just surviving
Yeah,
and helping people actually thrive.
exactly.
I like that a lot.
Imagine a program that not only helps you with stress and your physical health,
Oh.
but also helps you find your strengths,
Quite.
become more resilient,
Yeah.
and find more joy and meaning in what you do.
That sounds amazing.
It does.
So how do we make that happen?
There are so many possibilities.
Okay.
We could add things like gratitude practices,
Yeah.
activities that focus on people's strengths, or even chances for people to connect with their values
Yeah.
through their work.
So it's like we're expanding what wellness even means
Yeah.
to include not just physical health,
Right.
but also mental, emotional,
Yeah.
and even spiritual well-being.
It's about seeing the whole person
Yeah.
and realizing that well-being has all these different parts.
I'm already feeling more energized just thinking about all these possibilities.
Yeah.
So this conversation has me wondering,
Yeah.
what's next for workplace wellness?
Oh, that's a great question.
What trends are you most excited about?
Oh, that's a great question.
What does the future hold for workplace wellness? I'm so curious.
Well, one thing I'm really excited about is how technology and well-being are coming together.
Okay.
We're seeing all these new apps and wearable devices and
Yeah.
online platforms
Uh-huh.
that can help people track their health,
Yeah.
manage stress, even build healthy habits.
It seems like there's a new wellness app
I know.
launching every day. It's pretty amazing to think about all the possibilities.
It is.
But it can also be overwhelming.
It can.
How do we know what actually works?
That's the big question.
Mhm.
It's important to remember that not all technology is created equal.
Right.
Just because an app is popular doesn't mean it's actually helpful.
Right.
We need more research
Okay.
to really understand which ones are beneficial
Okay.
and how to use them in a way that's good for us.
Yeah, I've definitely fallen into that trap before.
Yeah.
Downloading the latest app, and then a couple weeks later,
Yeah.
it's gone.
It's gone.
I'm realizing that it's not just about the app itself.
Right.
It's about finding tools that actually work for you.
Yes. And that you can actually use consistently.
Exactly.
It's about being mindful
Uh-huh.
and intentional with technology,
Yeah,
just like we try to be in other parts of our lives.
that's a really good point.
Oh.
Okay, so we've got all this cool new technology.
Yeah.
But what other trends are you seeing?
Another trend I'm really passionate about is the focus on making workplaces more inclusive and equitable.
Yeah.
We're realizing that you can't really have well-being if some people feel excluded or marginalized.
I completely agree. It's about making sure that everyone feels like they belong,
Exactly.
no matter who they are or what their background is.
Yes, it's about creating a workplace where everyone feels safe,
Yeah.
respected,
Mm-hmm.
and valued.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's research
There is.
to back that up,
Yeah.
showing that when people feel like they belong at work,
Uh-huh.
they're more engaged,
They are?
more productive,
Yes.
and just feel better overall.
It makes sense, right?
It does.
When you feel like you belong,
Yeah.
you're more likely to bring your best self to work
Yeah,
and really contribute.
exactly. It's about creating that culture of belonging
Yes.
where everyone feels seen and heard and valued.
I love that.
I'm really glad that this is becoming a bigger focus
Me too.
in workplace wellness.
It's important.
Okay, so before we wrap up this amazing deep dive,
Yeah.
I have one last question for you.
Okay.
If you could give our listener just one piece of advice,
Yeah.
one actionable takeaway
Uh-huh.
from all this research,
Yeah.
what would it be?
Be proactive about your well-being.
Okay.
Don't wait for your company to start a program
Yeah.
or for a doctor to tell you to change.
Right.
You have the power to take charge of your well-being today.
I love that. We don't have to just sit around and wait for someone else to tell us what to do.
We can take control.
We can create the kind of work life that we want
Exactly.
for ourselves.
Start by paying attention to what makes you feel good.
Okay.
What gives you energy?
Ah.
What helps you feel balanced?
Okay.
Try different things.
Yeah.
Experiment with new habits. See what works for you.
It's like we become scientists
Yes.
of our own well-being.
I love that.
Yeah. Collecting data,
Yeah.
making adjustments,
Uh-huh.
and seeing what makes us thrive.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Okay.
Talk to your coworkers who are into well-being.
Yeah.
Talk to your manager about making work more supportive,
Okay.
or even find a coach or therapist.
Yeah, that's a good reminder
Yeah.
that we don't have to do this alone.
We don't.
There are people and resources out there.
There are. I really believe that when we prioritize our well-being,
Yeah,
everyone benefits.
I agree.
Us, our coworkers, our families, even our companies.
It's like a ripple effect
It is.
that creates positive change.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for taking us on this incredible deep dive
Of course.
into the world of workplace wellness.
My pleasure.
It's been so insightful
Dad,
and inspiring.
I'm glad to hear that.
And to our listener,
yes.
thank you for sharing this research with us
Uh-huh.
and for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We'll include links to all those studies
yes.
in the show notes.
You can check them out.
And be sure to share your thoughts and experiences with us on social media using #TheDeepDive.
We love hearing from you guys.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep thriving.